Soft. Crispy. Flavorful. Gluttonous. And incredibly cheap. In a world riddled by acai bowls and protein shakes, one breakfast food transcends above the rest.
The bagel. These delectable bread balls can be found throughout the world. From cafes and breakfast joints to grocery stores, the bagel is one of the most customizable breakfast foods. This allows people to be very specific when ordering their bagels. Even though it seems like a straightforward process, there are a few things you must consider. First, bagels come in a variety of different flavors. There are more savory ones, such as everything, plain, and poppy. On the other side of the flavor spectrum, one can find sweeter bagels like blueberry, cinnamon raisin, and sugar.
Okay, so my bagel always has to be sesame. Cinnamon, anything like with raisin, no sweet bagels. Or like the chocolate chip bagels, no.
I don't mind if I don't put cinnamon raisin, I go for sesame seeds. I do not like onion, it's too overpowering.
Any type is fine.
Any type is fine.
As long as
Cinnamon raisin?
no. Just a normal bagel. Plain bagel.
You can go sweet, you can go savory, you can go somewhere in between, herbal, plain. If you're boring like that, but you know, everybody got their own thing.
What about onion cream cheese? No.
Other bagel criteria include the toastiness of a bagel and the kind of schmear and topping one likes on their bagel.
I would never have a bagel that's not toasted. I don't like them if they're not toasted.
Same here. Would not have a bagel not toasted.
My bagel definitely has to be more on the toasted side and crispy, crunchy.
When it's like a fresh bagel, I tend to not toast it. But if it's like a day or two old, definitely like toasted.
Sometimes I let my bagels get toasty.
We enjoy plain bagels with like a really thin thing of schmear on top and some lox and capers.
I think just basic bagel, whole wheat, plain. It's all about the flavor and the cream cheese.
Regular cream cheese and just a ton of veggies on there, maybe some avocado, salt and pepper. Oof. And you're ready to start the day, you know?
A decent amount of cream cheese, and if the cream cheese falls, you just scoop it back up and eat it.
I'll get maybe some cheddar cheese if I'm feeling fancy, an egg and some bacon. However that with sriracha, please God.
I just don't like weird named ingredients.
Recently tried sun-dried tomato cream cheese. Ooh, yeah, that was good.
Is this sun-dried tomato like pureed into the cream cheese?
No, there's chunks of it.
Oh, chunks.
Yeah.
Does that make you nervous?
Why? No.
Chunks of tomato in your cream cheese.
No, I like that.
No matter what tickles your taste buds, the bagel has made their mark as a breakfast staple throughout the United States. Similar to how the scenery changes when driving through the United States, so does the bagel. A bagel you get in California will be completely different from the one you receive on the East Coast. New Yorkers are certain that bagels found there transcend among the rest.
It's hard to beat a New York bagel. I think they're really on top of it. They're the best in the world as far as I'm concerned. New York bagels are really pretty superior to most anything that you find out here on the West Coast. There are some exceptions. There are some, fairly decent bagel shops in California, but you got to look long and hard to try to find them.
Generally, New York is a little softer on the inside, crispy on the outside. Here is more of a commercial bagel experience, if you will.
But how did this mentality all start? In the late 19th century, Eastern Europeans immigrated to New York and brought along their cherished recipe we all know and love today. After decades of culinary perfection, bagels began to gain popularity from one secluded Jewish bakery. They used to market them as the Jewish version of English muffins. Even though New Yorkers have self-proclaimed their bagels to be the best, that doesn't mean that you cannot find an amazing, mouth-watering bagel anywhere else.
Like, why would I compare our bagels to New York bagels? I don't get the hype, you know? And I mean, I'm Jewish, so it's in my like line, you know? Like, I know my bagels. In San Francisco, we got it. We got good bagels.
I'm willing to bet that like most things East Coast to West Coast is probably better on the West Coast.
If New York says they have the best, they got to come to San Francisco and try our bagels, man.
The Bay Area has just as rich and diverse of a culture as New York does. We wanted Bay-Areans and Bay Area bagel businesses to not feel excluded from the bagel's claim to fame. So we set out to find some delicious and local Bay Area bagel joints so that the universal joy that the bagels embody can be found in your backyard. Our first stop is in Oakland, California, right off of the MacArthur BART station. Beauty's Bagels. We were able to talk to the owners of Beauty's Bagels and get some insight on their ever-evolving bagel business and what makes them so important in Bay Area bagel culture.
People really thought we were crazy. They were like, you can't go on that side of 40th. Like, there's nothing there. You're just like, you can't, it's not gonna work. And they were wrong. Blake was still working at Delphina, and somebody that he met there was like, oh, I know these guys who are opening a Jewish deli. Let me introduce you. So we met up with them and just talked for a while, and they were doing pop-ups at the time and they wanted a bagel. So we decided to start making bagels to sell to them. And we also, you know, after delivering the bagels, would stay and work at the pop-ups together. So turns out it's really hard to name things, but there is a diner, a famous diner in Montreal called Beauty's, and there's just one. It's like a little neighborhood spot, and it just embodied what we were trying to create. And, you know, it had a bit of a ring to it.
To me, it's like on the back end, we're like doing everything that like a fine dining restaurant would do. And then on the front end, it's like a, you know, very fast-paced bagel shop. We do like a, you know, a new maybe California twist on things, but for the most part, our concept, our brand is like tradition.
There are some great New York bagels, but there are lots of not great New York bagels. And I think some of the bagels I've had on the West Coast have been every bit as good as anyone I've ever had on the East Coast. So whatever myths there are about water, whatever, I don't agree with. I think bagels are a labor of love, and they take time and a lot of effort. And a lot of people just, in the interest of quantity, let go of some of the quality.
Just a quick ride away from Beauty's, you end up at Boychik Bagels. Located on College Avenue in Berkeley, this bagel shop not only has made their mark in the Bay Area, but also nationwide. In March 2021, the New York Times published an article deeming that the best bagels are in California, specifically Boychik. After trying their bagels, we're lucky to have this available at our fingertips. That is only if we get there before they sell out. After a traffic-ridden drive over the Bay Bridge, we ended up in San Francisco. Located in the inner Richmond in San Francisco is the iconic institution House of Bagels. House of Bagels originally opened in SF in 1962. The owners ditched Brooklyn and brought their bagel recipe with them. They relocated to their current space in 1964. Aside from their storefront, they provide a plethora of breakfast business throughout San Francisco, with fresh baked bagels every morning. Java Beach Cafe has been a San Francisco staple since 1996. Their business started with an emphasis on quality coffee, but has transcended into a Sunset District dream. People crave the multitude of spreads and toppings. That's why their bagels are served throughout the day. Java Beach's most popular bagel is called the Smoked Salmon Sunrise. After tasting, there's no question why this business has been around for decades. After enjoying a delicious SF bagel, we set off to our final Bay Area destination, Pacifica. Nestled in an old caboose train car along Highway 1 is P-Town Coffee and Tea. Although bagels aren't mentioned in their name, locals and tourists alike flock to this spot for their take on these bread balls. We were able to talk to the current owners of P-Town on their take of the bagels in the Bay Area and operating in this historical spot.
It became a coffee shop in 2011 or 2012. It was owned by one person for about like 8-9 years, and she sold it in 2018. And the last owner had it for about a year, and they posted it on Craigslist, and that's how we found it. And it took over 2020. You could buy anything in Craigslist. So it's big, giant coffee train, Craigslist. Pacifica is referred to as P-Town. That's what they call Pacifica. So P-Town and then coffee and tea, just standard, just to let people know what we have. So.
We originally wanted to call it Pugtown Pearls, but since it's called P-Town, we thought like, well, it's pretty, close anyway. So
wanted to have a
if we want to call it Pug, we can call it Pug. If we want to call it Pacifica, we call it Pacifica. The concept was already here. We just added a few things that we like to the menu. It's also kind of a conveniency thing because it's really hard to get a hood in here if we wanted to do fried foods or something. That's like a $12,000 job. So we stuck with the concept of bagels, and then we added a few items to the menu. I think the most unique one we have is the flaming bacon. It's cream cheese bacon and hot Cheetos, and you'll see that a lot on our Yelp reviews. Oh, the bagel with hot Cheetos, and it actually gives a good crunch concept to the bagel.
It'll be between the cowboy, which is just butter, cream cheese, avocado, and bacon. Just E6 is pretty popular as well, which is pesto, tomato, and bacon, and that's named after a local police officer. It was his badge number, 56, and that was his invention back with the original owners, and we just carried it over because it's so popular. Yeah, definitely the crunch. So you have to get a good toast on it, and then when you cut into it, it's got to make a nice crunch sound when you're cutting it down right in the middle. Cream cheese.
It's important to have it on both sides.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the one thing.
I think with cream cheese
Even
also
amount.
If we get to so subjective, it's people will ask for more cream cheese, people will ask for very light. Kind of hard to find the perfect balance between what people like. So,
Preference mostly.
Yeah, it's subjective. We just try and split it down the middle, or try to do it in moderation. So you want to make sure when you cut it in half, you look at it, and if it's just make it pretty. That's all.
A lot of people do this weird thing where they'll get the vanilla, which is bananas and Nutella, on an everything bagel, and I'm just I don't know what you're doing with your life, but.
Or a lox on a blueberry one.
We do have a semi-regular that does a lox on cinnamon raisin, and she swears by it.
We do have this one girl that orders on our DoorDash. She's hungover, and she'll literally put everything that we have, ingredients wise, on the bagel. So by the time we're done, it's like this. Never had a bagel on the East Coast, so I'm not really sure what they're all about there.
I think they're pretty notorious over there. They're a New York bagel.
Are they? I thought that was just pizza. We have Instagram and Facebook. It's actually right underneath us. It's just straight P-Town Coffee and Tea if you type it in. As far as promotions, if we do have them, we do post them on our Instagram and Facebook, because usually we do the Facebook because they do promotional things on there.
At first glance, the flavors and toppings that vary from coast to coast seem divisive, but we think it's the exact opposite. The variance of bagels mimics the diversity of flavors offered in the culinary sphere. Different flavors and toppings showcase popular tastes and palates in different regions. The bagel is a conduit of regional flavor information. Instead of ridiculing the differences, we should embrace them, because at the end of the day, each bagel is made from a little flour, a little water, and a whole lot of love.